Once the same kind lady had driven us back, I finished my book in my hotel room and tried to use one of the internet terminals at the hotel, but out of the 4 of them, only one seemed to work, and that one was occupied anyway, so in the end they just gave me a refund. Then, because I'd finished the book a bit earlier than I had anticipated, after my failure to use an internet terminal, I went at about 20 past or 5:30 to Rimba Juice again, which was the cafe near our hotel, to have a quick meal before having to be back at the hotel by 6:15 for the rehearsal. And I had by far the healthiest and therefore nicest meal I'd had at the cafe so far, a baguette and a salad, even though it was covered in mayonnaise. Here's the cafe at night time, Rimba Juice. At 6:15, Robert drove us to the cathedral, and we had a foolish run-through. The lady drove us back maybe at about 10 p.m. Wednesday morning. Here you see the Antofagasta beach again. I woke up at about 25 to 9 again without breakfast, and had a rehearsal again from about 9 to nearly 11. I put on some rid since I was a bit worried about the mozzies and dengue fever. Gavin and I had lunch or brunch at the cafe. Here you see us taking a short walk on Antofagasta Beach to where the taxi boats departed, during which a group of guys sitting on the path may have given me the finger. You'll see that in a moment. At about 1:30 p.m. or so, we were ready to go to the island Île aux Canards. Forgive my pronunciation. We had to wait a little while, at which point Gavin suggested taking our socks off, as we'd have to step into the water in order to board and disembark the boat. Keep an eye out for the person giving me the finger in a moment. Yes. There you go. This is where the taxi boats departed from. And this is us in the taxi boat. Chairs and tables are extremely expensive to hire at the island. It was called Duck Island in English. About 2,500 francs to hire a table and 2 seats for a day, which works out to over $30. Gavin, Lynn and Selma went snorkeling. I took some footage of the beach or island, which you'll see in a moment. Lynn was saying how since she'd got here she'd been living on ham, bread and cheese, as did Anthony a bit later in the trip, and how she hadn't been able to get to any cafes or restaurants. I said I'd been able to go to a few. Here you can see some of the beach. This is a bit more of the island. A bit later in the day I had an encounter with a disastrous toilet. It had no lights and no tap. Really the toilet from hell. Jumping ahead in our story a bit, because I don't have much footage of the rest of the day, when we arrived back at Antofagasta from the island, after I'd parted ways with Gavin, Lynn and Selma, I went to a public internet terminal for about 15 minutes or so, just to check my email and browse the web, and had a beef and bacon burger, which was very nice, though I cut out the fat and the bacon with a knife and fork, at the cafe that Lynn and Leslie and I had lunch at. I also had a small fries, or frites petites, as I think they called it in French. Then I had a shower, got ready to the concert, and sang, in my humble opinion, unfortunately not so well, except for the last 2 encore pieces, Lo Consiste and the Cantique. I also went to the concert and back with a lady from Les Alices, with whom I could only converse in extremely limited English and French, sadly. This was a spot I really liked. I thought of it as a kind of deserted bay because it felt that way. As far as I can remember, I got here after quite a bit of walking, but just the desertedness of the area made me really like it. It was really nice. I think it was after I was walking back from here that I thought some seagulls were chasing me. So being used to magpies in spring, I ran for my life, holding the camcorder. Thank goodness the camcorder was okay. This I think may have been near that deserted bay area, although I'm not totally sure. This was a bit of the rest of the beach. You can see what a nice place it was from the footage. This was Antofagasta Beach again, after we'd come back from the island, and here are some people playing a ball game I filmed.
Absolutely.
Some shots of the main street. This was the internet cafe which I visited, and then it was our concert. Thursday morning, or should I say, afternoon. I woke up horrendously late on Thursday at 1 p.m. I caught a bus into town because I hadn't gone into town yet, and tried to find an Italian restaurant to have some lunch at, but the only one I found was only open for evening meals. This is town that you can see here. Eventually, I found a ubiquitous Macca's, but I was pretty nervous on my bus trip to and from the city because I didn't know if I'd know which bus stops to get off at. But luckily, with showing the driver a map and asking some people around me, that worked out okay. In the evening, because we were having dinner together, Gavin very kindly agreed to my request to have pizza, and we had dinner at the restaurant you can see here, La San Remo. Gavin? Yeah, I think so. At 10:30 at night, Lynn took us to a piano bar, and this is in her car as she was driving some of us there. The piano bar itself was great. Apparently it's usually much more crowded and smoke-filled. We were practically the only ones there, and Lynn was saying that neither the husband pianist or the wife singer were as good as they had been 5 years ago. I think because it was a rainy Thursday night. Had it not been for us, they would have had a dead night, so to speak. Enjoy!
Mais il m'a coupé la parole. Il parle toujours avant moi, et sa voix couvre ma voix. Madame, 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 il a ri au courant des pierres noires. Madame, 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 il me fait le coup si bien toi. Madame, 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 c'est elle qui me montrerait du doigt et je traîne après moi comme une drôle d'être. C'est elle qui s'est ouverte et dit: rappelle-toi tes amours, rappelle-toi puisque c'est ton tour. Y a pas de raison pour que tu ne pleures pas, avec tes souvenirs sur les bras. Et moi, je revois.
Here's Lynn and Richard singing some karaoke.
In the joint, I could see you were a man of distinction, a real big spender, good looking, so refined. Would you like to know what's going on in my mind? Well, let me get straight to the point. I could fuck my coat for everything I see. Hey, big spender, spend time with me.
This was driving back from the piano bar in Lynn's car. I think we maybe came back at about 1 AM or so.